You want a revolution, we all want to change the world. When you're talking about destruction, yeah, don't you know that you can count me out anyway? Don't you know it's gonna be? Uh-huh. What's going on, fishy people? How are we doing? Can we hear? Can we see? Can we touch me? Feel me? See me? It is a sunny but brisk, cold morning here, and things are going pretty well in my life. I let's see if I can kick it up. Kick out the jams, mother cats. Check this out. Wow. Wow, that is some laggy internet. I'm sorry. But I was going to show you some laggy me. I'll just have to grab my camera here. Like this. My leg, it's this is all wrapped good now, but it's actually down to the size of, a leg. Like it still has to be soft cast, but I'm back to human proportions. I'm not like I don't have a giant tree trunk leg. So, anyways, can you hear me? Can't touch you though. Yeah, well, we'll work on that. What is going on with the internet quality? Hold on. I don't know. Let me know how the internet's coming through to you guys. If it gets unbearable, let me know, because it looks like it's doing the like glitch robot thing that I hate, when the internet gets real low. But how are we doing? Ladles and jelly spoons. We feeling pretty good. Get that beverage of choice, of course. Just One More Fish, LLC. What's going on? Justin Starbuck, what's going on? USMC, hello, good to see you as always. And Indoor Fishing Inside was the first, the last, the alpha, the omega. I don't even know if they're still here, but I hope they are, because we're gonna chat. Where do you guys want to take this thing today? You guys want to just steer it off a cliff right away, or do we want to keep it pretty, as the kids would say, based, and let it go easy? Evening, brother. So someone must be overseas. Hey, Alan, good to see you, man. Welcome. Come on in. The water is chilly, but it's okay. There's pretty fish in it. So, I was looking at glass fish. Oh man, the internet is laggy on my side. Is it laggy on your side, you guys, or is it just maybe my RAM on my computer is just crap? We'll find out. Let me turn some things off and see if that helps at all. And Kent, what's going on? Diane, Claire, good to see everybody. Oh, I love it when I see all the green in here. We have so many members in here right now. Thank you so much, you guys, for supporting the channel as always. I mean, everyone here is supporting the channel, but as always, I got a shout out to my members. I really do appreciate it. And yeah, I'm sorry if it's laggy. Let me know, guys. Like, just comment like, oh, it is, like you're not even coming through or whatever. Or if my voice cuts out to the point where you're missing words and stuff, let me know, and we can maybe switch it over to my cell phone. Let me see how much juice is on that. Yeah, we can try that for a little bit if it gets too bad. And if we do that, we can then go walk around and go look at tanks and stuff. But I wanted to show you guys a couple things. Hello, Green Skull. Welcome. I don't know if I've seen you before, but hello, in the live streams, that is. But hello, if I've missed you before. Fish Addict, what's going on? We got lots of good people coming through here. Good to see y'all, and have a good morning. I hope everybody's having a good morning. Yo, all of good. Laps member, just been cleaning my Fluval filter that kept sucking fish in from the top. Oh man, I've had fish lately swimming, like they're cleaning the, oh, you were Robbie. Okay. What's up? Welcome then, as Green Skull now. The artist formerly known as Rob E. Bonnie Scotland. Uh, Wonderful. I need to get to Scotland and finally visit my second cousins that are there. And one of my great uncles that's still alive. Oh, Cape Town, South Africa. Ooh, nighttime there as well. Late nighttime. Wow. Donald, Abby, what's going on? First time I have caught your live stream in the UK. I've loved your stuff for a long time. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Donald, I really do. Donald Raby, or Raby. Anyways, I'm sorry if I'm butchering your name. But yeah. Kent, I feel you, man. I feel you. So I was looking the other day at the glass fish, and they're not really in the aquarium hobby anymore. And that surprises me because they're really cheap. Like they're really affordable when they're on price lists. They're always like $1.10, for the most expensive, all the way down to 10 cents, 20 cents, 30 cents. Everything's screwed up right now because there's like tariffs that are always changing, and like a lot of places are saying like just put a flat 25 or 19% on everything, or 24%, or like whatever they say. And a lot of times it's not a reality of like what the tariff actually is right now, but they just don't know, and they're trying to like pad things. And so one, like if you don't have to pay it, that is a super pain in the butt, that you're paying it when it doesn't really exist, obviously. But two, it's a bummer if they ship it out and then it gets applied and then they get taxed, or like they have to factor that into their next order and stuff, or they had to buy the stuff or buy the equipment to raise the fish or whatever it may be, if that impacted things in some way. And so I have a couple of fish businesses, friends. There's a local shop called Eurofish. They're gone now. Obviously, Live Aquaria is closing, or I mean, they're in bankruptcy. They've been divided up by, like if you go read the bankruptcy filings, they tried to save the company by like basically selling everything and dissolving anything that was a liquid asset, or like a property or anything, and moving to like a lease. And none of that none of that helped. They actually, the judge put them under a conservatorship, or basically like a lawyer that splits everything up, and there's no fish specialist for that. So that Live Aquaria drama is really, really sad, because those fish, basically they got told, you got to get rid of them. We don't care. That's like money in the bank, their assets. And the court doesn't have a procedure for like living things necessarily. So they had to do an emergency filing. And luckily it just sat the weekend, is what I've heard. And that was a while back, but everything had to be locked up like by the bank or whatever for the weekend. And so none of the fish or anything got food or, maintenance or water changes or whatever. And then they came back, and basically the court ruled that they can sell all the fish, trying to recoup money. But like the question then becomes like, who feeds the fish, who pays for the electricity, all that stuff. And nobody wants to buy the company or the assets yet. Nobody has stepped forward. And so it leaves it all in this legal limbo where the fish are supposed to pay for all that themselves. And so they didn't mark things down as like a big sale or sell off, like we're closing. And yet Last I checked, for over 2 months, they had no customer service, no responses that were timely. There were a few like auto response emails I saw other people get, but I didn't see anything. And so that's kind of crazy to see Live Aquaria, which was the biggest online, reseller that there is. And they also, yeah, energy has doubled since 2022. So electricity in the US and in Europe is going to go crazy. So if you think that your electricity bills are high now, I'm telling you, they're going to be insane in another year. In America, there is a real problem with the way things were restructured in some major legislation, and also like update the grid. Nope, we're going to kick it down the road. Nope, we're going to kick it down the road. Nope, we're going to kick it down the road. And that's been going on forever. That's a lot of infrastructure in the US. But the fact that things, one example was like the windmill farm off of, or wind turbine farm off of the coast of New England, that was going to supply 750,000 houses. Well, it got shut down even though they're built. And luckily, that has since been revisited. But things like that get changed from one president to another, or when there are world events and wars and conflicts and things. Right now, OPEC has a glut of, and you may think, what does this have to do with fish, Alex? It has to do with your electricity bill. Your electricity bill has to do with natural gas, oil, and all sorts of other things. And we are going to see absolute insanity. And it's basically because we had a plan and all these companies existed in a green shift, like, oh, let's make everything green, solar, wind, all this stuff. And then they basically shifted back to all the old school oil subsidies and stuff under Trump. And they haven't really made up their minds, and they've kind of it's like having to move houses, and with the infrastructure and with the incentives and also big investments. They don't want to invest in stuff that's changing every 4 years with like literally tens of $billion investments. So what's interesting though is that like a lot of analysts from the energy sector are saying that it's going to get insane for electricity costs. And so in the US, as well as some of Europe, there's going to be a really, really, really high electricity costs coming. It's already doubled for a lot of people in like the Midwest. And I'm somewhat lucky in that Washington State has a lot of hydroelectric power, but we sell a lot of our power. And the problem is we sell it, or we don't, private companies do. We should have a nationalized grid, in my opinion. We have nationalized highways and roads, but yet we have a bunch of private grids that are controlled in some cases by state utilities or sub I guess outsourced and subleased contracts. Texas, there we saw like when their grid basically fell apart during a snowstorm. Well, now we're having another crazy snowstorm, right, you guys? So let's see what happens. But basically, these private companies get to charge whatever the hell they want in America. And so people with fish rooms or more than 1 or 2 tanks, I mean, just your normal electricity bill, they're saying it could go up as much as 1,000% in 2 years. And it's because we have nothing in the way to stop it. Like there is no limit on it. And so they'll get all the money to rebuild and to fix the grid. They need to build something like 200,000 miles of high power lines in the next 15 years. And in the last 10 years, they did something like 1/100th of that much. And so, man, if you can get solar on your house or turbine or geothermal or whatever, I think it's a good call right now. That's for sure. But if you can't do that, what we need to do is make sure that your fish room, don't put a heater in 20 different tanks. put it in the tanks where you need it. If you have discus or rams or something where you're trying to play with the heat very specifically. And then if you have a fish room, heat that to like 74 or 76 if you can, and leave it at that and get it insulated. That's my recommendation. Also, you don't need, a lot of people want a Fluval light or whatever, a Twin Star or whatever it may be, some nice light on every tank. And you can use very low intensity energy dimmer LEDs, especially if you have something like African, like rift cichlids or live bears or whatever, and then have one or two tanks out of every several that are lit well, that are community tanks or whatnot. That's my thinking, that's my thought. But I'm actually, as I'm starting this whole ADA, AFA, aquarium, aquascaping thing, it reminds me that you've got the solenoid, which that takes no electricity because it's just off on with the CO2, but then you've got the light, you've got a heater, and when they're in a room that's open, and that in my area right now it's 28 degrees or whatever Fahrenheit outside, 0 Celsius, -1 Celsius, whatever it is, and it to heat those tanks that stand alone like that, the smaller they are, the less effective or efficient the little heaters are. And so you might need, for 10 gallons in a room like the room I'm in right now, like this kind of hallway kitchen area, you might need 150 watts for a 10 gallon, whereas in a room where you can get it to 70 degrees most of the time, or 68 or whatever, then it might you might only need like a 50 watt, and that would be fine. But especially if you're trying to get it to a certain point and you're keeping it hot, it plays the off on the way you chart it game. It's either on or it's off with heaters. There's no like it'll heat at 20% power. No, it doesn't work like that. Hey, Rebecca, freshwater ichthyology, great to see you. Aquatic Moose, good to see you as well. Kenguin, hello. And heat pumps cost $300 a month to run in the UK, but only work with combined with solar to offset. It's crazy we were going to force heat pumps now instead of gas. Yeah, it's wild all over the world right now. At the end of the day, I feel like consumers are going to have to advocate for themselves, like whether it's your fish room or your house just to keep lights on and internet and stuff. It's pretty wild. Kent has a question. We got a first fishy question of the chat. I know we got so many people in here that are so good at fish husbandry and plant growing and so forth that a lot of people don't ask fish questions. We're just kind of hanging out. But to anybody who has questions, don't feel afraid or nervous to ask if you're watching and you're wondering something, even if you think, oh, he probably thinks that's obvious or whatever. If you're new, you're always more than welcome here. We're all learning from each other, and that's all what it's about. So Elf Puncher, first Kent had the question, but he said, have you had any half beaks, and can you help can they help with containing guppy spawn? So not really, probably. Half beaks, they have those long mouths. They don't breed nearly as fast as a guppy, and they eat very awkwardly. They're kind of like a miniature gar, which I love them. They're cool. And most of them, I think all but 2 species we know of now, are live bears, which is super weird, freaky. They're the other live bear across the world that's a freshwater fish, outside of the Posiliata and, all the swordtails and mollies and all that, Xiphophorus and stuff. But yeah, the half beaks are really cool, but they don't really eat anything like predatorily other than bugs and very, very small things like Daphnia and stuff, because it's really hard for that mouth to get a hold of it. They really have like this such a weird mouth. They really have specialized evolutionarily. So I wouldn't say they can help with that, and the other thing is they actually, other than like you know, there's things like the celebi rainbow fish, or um, maybe the wrestling half-beak would work, that can stand more neutral water to even a little bit of hardness. But most your like guppies, and endlers and stuff like that, they like a little bit of hardness in the water, you know, or a little bit of salt, even a little bit of, you know, something minerality in the water, a little bit of alkalinity generally. And your half beaks actually want like flooded forest black water. Usually they usually live in like very shallow, very tannic dark waters, of Sumatra, you know, Indonesia, Java, the islands, across Indonesia, Malaysia, Borneo. They're really cool though, I like them, but probably a kind of a mismatch for guppies in theory. Elf Puncher, Fishtory, could you expand on using medicated fish food, brand, method, etc.? Seems like it would be less likely to crash your cycle. Yeah. So, you know, honestly, a lot of people worry about using antibiotics and that crashing their aquarium cycle. And the truth is that one, when you take a medication and you add it to the water, you're medicating a very diluted dose to the fish. And so they increase what the fish needs to take. If you can take that same, say, let's just make up a number, 10 milligrams that they say you need in a 10-gallon tank. If you can get that to be eaten by the fish, you might only need 1 milligram for that whole tank of fish split amongst them to be treated. But a lot of people worry that their cycle will get ruined. And if you have a mature tank that's over 6 months or a year old, and you have plants, you have aqua soil or gravel or sand, anything that has like a good amount of micro cracks and crevices and texture, all that surface area is home for bacteria. Even like half an inch to an inch down into the substrate, even in sand and things, that is home to that bacteria. So all it takes is literally uncovering a little bit, and that bacteria will come back out. Whereas the particles of your antibiotics basically are not going to dissolve into the water column completely. Like they kind of clot and fall out of the water, and they will fall down as well down to the floor of the aquarium. You can kind of see it sometimes as like a powder or a residue or a foggy or milky, or kind of like that mirage swirly look, even if you mix it in good. And it won't kill your whole cycle if you have a mature tank usually. That being said, doing it over and over again, or adding a bunch of methylene blue, and that, like, that becomes a double whammy. You start killing a lot of diversity when you do that. If you're doing that, pull your filter media, or half of it, or, you know, take a couple gallons of your aquarium water and a few choice plants, a few pieces of wood or decorations or whatever, put that in a bucket with an air stone for the week or whatever while you're treating the tank, if you don't have a QT tank. Now, as for in the food, where do I get it? Brine Shrimp Direct is the best place I've found for like medicated foods inside of like cold pressed brine shrimp flakes or krill flakes or whatever. Great spot for that is Brine Shrimp Direct. And they have a number of options when you look around, or if you call them, you can talk to them a lot of times, and they have different things at different times. But I love their food, and I know a lot of breeders in this country, in the United States, that also call and do that. In fact, I actually know some people in Europe who have come to speak at the Seattle Club and requested brine shrimp direct flake food, like their cold pressed krill flakes with the color enhancing stuff, or their brine shrimp eggs, stuff like that. They've requested that someone order it, and they'll pay them back, and they want to pick it up in the US when they're here, because it's like that good of quality in their minds. They also carry things like the golden pearls and stuff, which are these little golden pearls, are these little foods that, and some of them are as small as 50 microns. So like a human hair width. They're not much bigger than that, and some are all the way up to like aqua soil, big old chunky pellets to feed like tilapia or whatever. And they also, sometimes you'll see people selling on eBay or Etsy like medicated foods, but I don't know, unless you see a lot of really good reports, I would kind of stay away from some of that stuff. Unless it's an established company like CChem or someone that they're going to be there. They have a customer service line, a 1-800 line. You can call them up and ask them questions, kind of thing. Just because it's probably just shake and bake. I've done that too, though. I mean, you can take a fish food, you can add a little bit of water to it, just a few flicks of water on like a pellet or something, have it in a Tupperware, add your I like to use garlic powder, and I like to use I'll use a garlic powder, and I'll use a spirulina powder, and then whatever medication I want to add. Usually levamisole, praziquantel, fenbendazole or flubendazole. Those ones are the ones for parasites and stuff, but you could use a gram-negative antibiotic. It doesn't make sense to use a gram-positive antibiotic so much inside of the fish, in that those usually need full oxygen environments and they will go through a period without it, and a lot of them will die. So there are reasons to treat with that, certain bacterias and things. And exterior cuts and sores, secondary infections, that's when you use gram-positive as a general rule for fish. But gram-negative is more like when you see like a swollen abscess or red swollen goiter, or the fins or the scales are all pine coning in a section or something. That's when you can use that. But yeah, I would say that you can make your own, but the dosing, you're going to have to go online and kind of guesstimate that, because it is less. That being said, you're probably not going to overdose as long as you don't go over what you add into the tank at large. Like, just for sure, don't add more than that. But I would say, a lot of times the fish still won't eat it just because it tastes funky. But you can try, and if they do eat it, then it's very effective for things like deworming and stuff, like fenbendazole or levamisole specifically is the best one for like tapeworm type, stuff, for nematodes, roundworms, stuff like that. What fish would you recommend for controlling a guppy population in around 20 or 30 gallons? Honestly, more male guppies. No, they can oftentimes, as long as they're not the ornate or big-tailed delta tail or like big fins, big Dumbo fins. If they're faster, females will eat too, but the males will really pick off a lot of babies. The fact that you are not seeing a lot of babies getting picked off surprises me. Maybe you're just only getting, maybe you have a few females and you're getting 30 babies each time, or 15 babies each time, and you're only seeing 2 or 3 from each of them surviving. But between 5 or 6, that's 10 babies coming every few months, or whatever. So that's still too many. I get that. The best way to deal with that then, you might want to get something like gourami. The problem is anything too aggressive, like Oscars, even like angelfish and stuff. Sometimes they get along and they're fine. Other times, though, they'll start ripping at the fins of the adults too, because they see it as like a fishing lure. And with like an Oscar, one, it's going to get really big. Or with anything that gets too big. So you kind of want to stay with these like micro predators. And you want something that hangs out mid-water, ideally, or top water to eat the babies. So it kind of depends on what kind of tank you have, but any sort of cichlid, Generally, like dwarf cichlids, they'll usually eat quite a few of the babies. Also, any other live bearers like mollies, platies, swordtails. Platies less so, but the other ones, they'll eat it. So get some pretty swordtail males or something and throw them in there. They'll probably eat most of the babies. Um, uh, Myra or Miria. I don't know. I'm sorry. I can't ever enunciate. But hello, welcome. Come on in. Greg Guppy Guy, what's up? La Reg or Lara G. I like La Reg. I'm gonna call you La Reg. Half-beaks are designed to eat from the surface. They're really fun if you get some wingless fruit flies. Totally, those are fun or soldier fly larvae, or anything small like that. Mosquito larvae, even they'll eat. Although mosquito larvae, I have had in rainbow fish and in half-beaks. I've seen them choke before on too big a mosquito larva, and I'm like, really? You're designed to eat little bugs, and you're gonna choke on them? Come on, guys. Sage Cave of Wonders, what is going on? Good to see you as well. Let's see here. Fish Family Link. Hello, Mr. Bot. I've always learned smaller fish in larger aquariums philosophically. Yeah, I like that too. Little fish, big space. That's the cool way to see the most unique behavior, I feel like. Yeah, Kent says his guppies breed in a pH of 6.5, no problem. Yeah, and they can. Some of them are like super acclimated to low pH. You probably have some minerality though. Would be my guess, is that your pH may still be lower, but you probably have some KH, because a lot of times the guppies will start getting that dreaded humpback or the sagging belly or the wasted look. Oh man, like they've been out partying all night. No, they're starving. They'll become blind. You'll see a bunch of them that don't have eyes formed right. When they don't have the right minerals present. Also, too much blue light I have a video on that, but like leaving the blue light on all the time, they found that when fish are in their larval stage or the first few days, that intense blue light, bright enough lumens of the blue filter over the lights that come with like aquariums and stuff, can actually cause trauma to the formation of the eye and the spinal column and some of the nerve endings and stuff, which I don't know like the full detail on that. I read the papers, but I didn't really know what it meant. And it's hard to gauge in fish, like, well, it's 20% slower at evading predators. And it's like, well, does that matter if you're breeding like pretty fish that don't have any predators in your tank? I don't know. It's kind of an ethical thing, but it's up to you. Let's see here. Does that apply to something like Paracleanse? Well, a lot of those kind of things, you have to just go to the back of the box or Google and find out what the main ingredient is. And that a lot of times will be like, you'll see it has like praziquantel and Metroplex, has like praziquantel and a gram-negative antibiotic, or it'll have flubendazole or fenbendazole or levamisole or ivermectin, or these various combinations of things that they put in them, and then they give it a brand name. So definitely look what the active ingredient is, and then go search online for like appropriate dosage per gallon for that. And then if you get that, you'll know at least like a range to start. And I would, like, if you're going to shake it into the food and try to like knead it, garlic and spirulina are two things that a lot of fish just tend to like the flavor of if you have added something to their food, like mashed peas when like goldfish or bettas have like bloat or guppies have bloat. and they're just constipated and backed up from too rich of protein diets, a lot of times you can feed them mushed peas, the inside of the pea, and that will clear them out. Like they'll have diarrhea from it, basically. Well, that's all good and well if you can get them to freaking eat it. And some will just eat it as is, but others won't eat it for the life of me. So yeah, you can kind of put whatever you want in there. Flavoring wise, if you know something they really like if maybe they like some some powderized fry food, like Aquarium Co-op's fry food or something like that, or something like you could try also making a dough. So a lot of people will make a dough they'll take whatever the favorite pellet of that fish is, and they'll crush it up, add the medication that you dose the whole tank with, and maybe they start at like half of the recommended dose for a 2 or 3 days worth of food that portioned out. And so that's a tiny little pile of food, a little, just a little bit. And you're mixing that medication in, but a lot of times you just like take your finger and wet it under the tap and just like tap that on like whatever surface you're working with, but just a tiny little bit of water, and then kind of work the dust or the powder you created in there and make like a little dough of like I know Hikari, I'll use their algae wafers and their little red ones. I can't think of the name right now. They're like little sticks that they eat. Do I have them handy here? Yeah, Vibrabites. The Vibrabites. I've crushed those into dust before, and the fish like whatever's in that a lot. And so I've mixed in antibiotic, like gram-negative antibiotics with that. I've also mixed in levamisole. But again, you have to have very specific instrumentation to also know how to dose. You can pick up a scale like this one here. This one is what's it called? I think it's, well, I don't know, whatever this brand is. True Weight, and I think the other one I've used, AWS. Those are the two I've used that are like $20. But like I said, it gets messy, but I'll mix it right on the surface here. And you can actually weigh out hundredths of a gram, which you can figure out the milligrams from that. But that's very small amounts if you have a pure like medication. And a lot of times if you get a pill that says 10 milligrams of praziquantel or 10 milligrams of whatever aspirin, let's take that as an example. The pill itself will weigh half a gram. So that's 500 milligrams. And so you have to think in your head, like, wait, but it's only 10 milligrams of active ingredient and 500 grams on the scale, or 500 milligrams on the scale. So that means it's half a gram. So that means the active ingredient is less than 10% of the pill. The rest might be baby laxative or milk lactose or spirulina or whatever. So keep that in mind, that if you can get the pure thing and you can get a scale to measure effectively, you can get like an ounce on eBay of some of these things that are, even when they were illegal for to buy for fish, for instance, or for human use, you could get them for farm livestock and things like that. And I used to have, like, I remember one time I bought 4 ounces of levamisole, and that lasted me like 7 years. And it wasn't anything other than like humidity getting into the bag and creating like turning it into a brick that eventually like made it go bad. Like, it would have lasted me forever as a fish keeper. So if you're getting the pure actual medication, you need to have a good scale for measuring, and not good as in like high costs or anything. You can find them online for like 20 to 30 bucks. You can get a good one, but you want it to measure down to the 10th of or 100th of a gram, so that you can deduce milligrams roughly. Yeah. All right, let's see here. Amy, hello, good to see you. And Randall Ben's gonna be lurker, but he's here. Glad you're here, my friend. Randall Ben, you were my friend, but then you disappeared when I depend on you. Let's see here. Gold red cockatoides. Yeah, and the pisto would definitely probably eat a lot of the baby Endler, guppies, anything like that. Definitely for sure. Wandered in from Lansing, Michigan. Right on, Ronaldo. Welcome. Come on in to the big old mess of a live fish show. In my tanks. What's going on, Nicholas? How you doing? You have orange springtails. Oh, that's cool. That would be a good food for the half beaks too. The way they hop on stuff. I like to like watch them when they hunt little aphids. I don't know why, but I have had a hell of a time keeping half beaks alive. Mine as adults just slowly die over the course of a year, and I don't know why. I don't know if it's my water. I don't know if I look at them funny, or maybe I just depress them. Maybe I'm depressing them, and they're just like, I can't take it anymore. I'm just gonna open my mouth and just disappear into the abyss. Hey, what's going on, Daniel? Good to see you, my brother. Welcome. Come on in. Good to see you again. Quick glimpse. What's up? Any recommendations for plants in a 110 tall, no CO2? Totally. Aponegitans, Echinodorus. So any sword plants, any of those Madagascar lace, any of the like twirly Aponegitans, tiger lilies. Those are great. Those are all real cheap, easy to, you put them in, set them, forget them. They'll grow in low light. They'll reach for the top. Those are good ones. They're pretty hardy. Anubias can be good if you get like Cophifolia or some of the bigger Anubias plants. You want to fill out big chunky plants that are going to kind of drape things and have wider leaves and stuff first. So like Java fern's another one that can grow into size and do really well. If you want stem plants with color and you want to be trimming, every week or two or whatnot, and you actually have aqua soil or nutrients that you want to grow from, you can also use something like Ludwigia. Ludwigia is a great filler plant. And if you use like Ludwigia repens or Reuben or glandulosa, any of those three, the leaves can get, yay big and yay long. And so a few stalks of those larger varietals can really fill out, and you can get them in super red and stuff. And even without CO2, they'll have a nice orange or red with even just kind of medium light. So I recommend all those. Bulbitis, yeah, someone just said bulbitis. That's a great option too. There's so many good options when you have a big tank like that. I mean, there's also some funky ones. You can do things like Crypspiralis, Cypress hellfry if you want a big grass plant. Valsenaria will take over the whole tank eventually, but you can plant Italian val, jungle val, leopard val, any of those. And that needs like no nutrients. You can just put it in sand and it will literally grow across the sand. No problem, no CO2. All that is great stuff for sure. And then if you want something pretty or more intricate and detailed, you could do something like water sprite or wisteria. Um, any of the hygrophilas are pretty good. Also, any of the hydrocotyle other than tripartita or verticillata. Those ones are really tiny. But like any of the pennyworts or moneyworts, those, I mean, they'll grow as a vine and they'll grow all over your tank. They'll fill it out soon. They'll eat lots of nitrates. You can grow them above the tank. You can have the vine come up and out. They're pretty wild. So I think all those that I just said are great. And they'll help like cut down on nitrates as well as provide a lot of different little micro habitats and hiding spots for your fish, which is always good, makes them feel at home. So Ryan, what's up? Do people actually not have hair algae, or is everyone pretending? Um, Most healthy tanks that are of any age will eventually, even if you're using tissue cultures and distilled water, you will eventually end up with, like, first it's generally diatom algae, the spot algae on the glass. Then it turns to the dust, a harder diatom that has like a crystalline colony structure, and it can like become totally opaque on the glass, and you have to really scrape it off. Then you'll get the slime, you'll get the snotty algae. That's just the natural evolution of most aquariums around the world. Just what's floating in the air and on your clothes and whatever, like the spores and stuff. But if you have a tank long enough, a year or two in usually, or if you buy plants that are farm raised and not grown in vitro, where they're like completely sterile and stuff, even from the fish you buy uh, in their waste, but also just like, in their gill, there will be spores and stuff of microorganisms and bacteria, plants, fungi, all that stuff stuck to their slime coat on their side. And over time, yes, you will get algae. But the key is if you have healthy plants. So, for years, I have lots of videos on how to treat algae. But this is an even easier thing to say. Plant a ton of plants. And if they are growing well, you won't have an algae problem unless you're just 15 hours a day of light and you're just pouring in fertilizer. A lot of people will use a once a week or even once a day fertilizer. Ugh, that scares me, especially unless you're doing like a 50% water change weekly or something. That's different. Then you can kind of get into estimative index or EI dosing and stuff like that, and that's different. But for people who have a community tank and they just do like a 20% water change every 2 or 3 weeks or something like that, and water top offs here and there, don't just go like get an all-in-one like Easy Green or whatever and assume you have to squirt that in your tank. Your fish, the waste they have, your tap water, the average tank will have, especially if you're using any sort of aqua soil, will have enough minerals and nutrients for a good like year or two, with the combination of food, bacteria, fungi, all the stuff going on in your tank over time. And yes, if you're using CO2 and highlight, then it becomes like, yeah, you might need fertilizers to like really bring out the best colors or this or that in your plant. But once you understand all that, this already you'll know what applies to you and what to ignore. But for most people with a community tank where you've just got some plants, and the best way to describe it is I say any of the plants, go to aquariumcoop.com and look at what they sell. Any of those plants pretty much don't need the liquid all-in-one, Easy Green. But if you add CO2 and you got a higher, stronger light like a Fluval 3.0 or Twin Star or Night Crew or Weak Aqua or whatever, something in that realm, then sure, you can use the all-in-one and weekly or whatever. But most tanks don't really need it, and it does end up just kind of putting them right on the edge of becoming a crazy hair algae or slime algae fest. Only once you see multiple species of plants doing poorly or stunted or really just like anemic, like no branches and stuff, that's when you're like, okay, I need to be putting nutrients in there. But so many people this day and age have gotten, they bought that thought that the plants need food, and they do, but a lot of people don't factor in how many of those micronutrients, how much nitrogen is in food that you put in your fish, and then your fish poo, and then the plants get it, and it's in the water column. And there are exceptions to that too. Like if you're growing, Snow White Anubias or something, then it's going to need more nutrients. If you're growing Hygrophila chai or, something like that, then they're going to need that too. Oh, someone's getting a sauna. Well, lucky you. Roy in NYC. Hello. Welcome. Do guppies, neocardinas, scuds, or snails like eating green hair algae? All of them will pick at it. Swordtails and mollies, guppies, they all will pick at hair algae when they're bored. If you're feeding them like a pinch of food 2 or 3 times a day, they won't probably. They'll probably wait for the food, because it's like bringing a teenager McDonald's or Jack in the Box or whatever, Wendy's, something. It's like bringing them a pizza every afternoon, and then being like, hey, you didn't eat your vegetables, and they're like, well, you bring me a pizza every day, why would I eat my vegetables? So that, but when they're bored, or if they're kind of feeling hungry, and they can go days without food, all fish have evolved, other than the tiniest of tiny little fish like Danionellas and things, have evolved to go a few days without food, because you just don't know what happens in the wild, and in that time almost all of those will eat algae as a filler, if not as part of their balanced diet for nutrients and other things. Have I had a dwarf onion plant? Yeah, I definitely have. It's actually a very endangered plant in the wild. But it's a cool thing that we can get that pretty commonly in the aquarium, little bulbs of it. They're sold a lot of times in the betta mix at Petco, PetSmart, various places around the world sell Aponigeton, like Ulvasis and Longiplumulosis, and various, or Crispulata, various Aponigeton bulbs, with usually onion plant is another one, and then also the water lilies and lotus, like the tiger lily, or stuff like that. That's what is definitely in those little mix packs of 3 to 5 bulbs for like $5 or $10. And the onion plant is really pretty lame looking, honestly, but because it is endangered in a lot of places in the wild, it's cool that it's in the hobby, I would say. But it's a pretty boring plant. It's just like 2 or 3 stems. It looks like chives. It looks like chives growing in your aquarium. Let's see here. Having U.S. Marine Corps saying, I'm having success with Lewiggia repens and natans. Yeah, natans is a good one too. Rotundifolia, Rotala rotundifolia, that's a good one. It's got rounder leaves. Cabamba carolina, yeah, or caroliniana, yeah, that's a good one too. Styrogen repens, Hydrocotyle Japan, which is, yeah, that's the Hydrocotyle japonica, which is money wort or penny wort, and it grows like crazy. That stuff is insane. Water Sprite, low to medium light, no CO2. Totally. All those plants are great ones. Dwarf Sage as well. Yep. Those are all great options for sure. Use some root tabs, liquid fertilizer every other day. Water change once a week. Yeah. So if you're doing the water changes once a week and you got all those plants, it makes sense that you might need an all-in-one, with all those plants. It kind of just depends on what you're doing. The thing is, if you're having algae problems and you've got a bunch of plants, then you're probably good on nutrients. But if you have a bunch of plants and there's yellow spots and some are scraggly and yada yada, you're probably having a deficiency of something. There's always called a limiting factor. And so you either have not enough light, not enough CO2, or not enough nutrients. And that could be your micros or your macros. But yeah. Fishtory, do you have any? Oh, Ryan, we got a new member. Right on, Ryan. Welcome to the cult. I mean, family. I mean, club. Channel. Whatever you want to call it. You only need to send us a sample of your blood. Not more than like 3 or 4 pints is needed. And the ceremony will be complete during the next full moon. So welcome aboard. Anybody who wants to join, now's a great day to join. It's always a great day to join. But check out the community playlists on the homepage, and there are an extra over 200 episodes for you that are audio based, so they're podcast friendly. I've been trying to think of a good word or a little icon, and I think now I'll put little headphone icons on the episodes that were kind of designed to be listened to just as much as watched. The thing is, if you watch my episodes, you're going to get more charts and graphs and extra tidbits of trivia, and maybe you might want to see the fish. But if it's an audio episode, I will describe the fish as best I can and kind of try to fill in that picture. It's just like you can't really explain a map super detailed in a broadcast like that or in a podcast. And so that's where watching is better, but that's why I do specific episodes just for like that purpose. Do I have any experience with Blixa? I do. It's been a while. It used to be around quite a bit, and I have not seen it for a while. That's interesting you say that. Yeah, plants come and go out of popularity, and I think that's one that was being grown in Asia a lot and also Africa. And like people like Dustin's Plants, Planted Tanks, Dustin's Planted Tanks, they will buy these, massive orders of boxes of plants that come over from those places. They have nurseries that are just, fields out in the sun, maybe with a greenhouse that tarp or canopy can be pulled over it when needed. And a lot of that stuff is kind of seasonal or whatever they plant. And there's really only 20 or 30 big suppliers in the world, which may sound like a lot, but it's not, when they know each other a lot of times, if in the same country or whatnot. And so the big farms that distribute those kind of things kind of come and go with what grows fastest or what's most popular or what fetches the highest price, And at the end of the day, Blixa, I think it's a little fragile in shipping. Like it wilts if you're not careful with it. And I think it's just also there's other plants that people have started using instead of it. Maybe the other one that I see less of now is area calends. For a while, those were pretty popular, and I saw a lot of them. Also, just like oddball crypts. It's always changing. Like Wenty, gecko, brown, pink panther, pink flamingo, crypt, lutens or lucens. Also cryptocrine, parviflora, cryptocrine parva, cryptocrine spiralis, and I'm trying to think of the one that is named axelrodi and undulata. Those ones you see a lot of. And I think what kind of determines it sometimes too is when Petco or a big company, maybe other countries have another chain of pet stores or nurseries. But you'll see like a theme where it's very popular that one place is selling bulbs or they're selling seed or cuttings or tissue cultures, and so the other places all back off on selling it. Then that gets discontinued, and suddenly now there's nowhere on the market to buy those things. I think that's what happens a lot of times too. But Blixa japonica is a cool one. Yeah, I would look on Etsy. A lot of those, there's a lot on there. Virginia Dirt Fishing, what's up? Welcome. Assyriana, Kansas, what's up? Good to see you as always. Have I kept banana plant? Yep, and that one's all over Florida. It is a cute little plant for like a kid's tank or a small tank, you know, like a smaller size tank. It goes good with like little decor or SpongeBob's and stuff, colorful plants or glowfish, whatnot. It's kind of a funky little plant. But yeah, looks like mini bananas, and it's as good as any other plant. But yeah. Tekra Tube, hello, welcome. Come on in. And also Maxima, what is it? Maxima Tor Terminator. Cool. Come on in, Maxima Tor Terminator. Good to have everybody in here. Elf Puncher, your name still cracks me up, by the way. I don't think it ever will not. Especially after all that elf on a shelf business that's gone down over the years. Yeah, who cares about that? Elf on a shelf. Smack them. Okay, guys, I want to show you before we end or anything. It's already been an hour, y'all. But I want to show you, and if you don't care, go somewhere else. Go play with someone else. Gamer, what's going on? Hello. Do I have a favorite moss? Yes, Christmas moss. I love Christmas moss. It's just kind of the ubiquitous. I mean, Java moss is fine too, but Christmas moss is a nice, like, it spreads well. It looks good. You can kind of shape it like a topiary, and it will grow on whatever, you know, over time. It will just kind of take to things. So I love, if you have CO2, Christmas moss is amazing. Even if you don't have it, it'll grow. But I love it. With good flow and good CO2, it looks incredible. You can do a lot of cool things with it. So, and also, guys, thank you again. I'm seeing so much green in here with like Asha and Elf Puncher, USMC, Ryan now, so many folks. Also, oh, Lisa the Wolf, hello, welcome. And David Scott, welcome. I didn't see y'all stroll in, but so many friendly faces. You can become a member for $1.99. It helps the channel out, helps me keep the lights on. I was just complaining about electricity, and I know everyone's tight on money, but it does like help me keep doing what I'm doing. And you know, by golly, I will keep at it until all my body parts fail. If you've been watching the channel for a while, you might get that joke. If not, you're probably like, what is that guy talking about? But I do want to show you guys, Aquatic Arts has yet again some sales going that I was like, whoa, those are good deals. And shipping sucks, guys. Shipping really, really sucks. Everywhere it's like 60 to 80 bucks for like a big order of live overnight stuff. So I'm just going to lay that out there. But if you want to spend like $100 or $200 at a lot of stores right now, online stores that are fish stores, they have killer deals. Imperial Aquatics, you know, Aquatic Arts and Moonlight Aquatics. I obviously have affiliate links with them, so you can save even more. But a lot of those places, their business has really been slowed lately. And with winter, it usually kind of takes a turn up. And then as spring weather starts coming back, it usually falls off a cliff. And there's this dead period in early spring where no one's buying anything. And some shops historically will kind of just say, oh, well, and just kind of sit on what they have and try to sell off what fish they do have. And they'll just get bigger fish than normal. Whereas others will try to do deals and sales. And right now there are some, you know, there are some pretty cool deals. You'd think shipping would be cheaper with the price of gas. Yeah, it's nothing about the price of gas or anything, unfortunately. I wish that did help. you know, it's the price of 2 monopolies, 3 really, controlling everything in the US. You know, you got FedEx, you got UPS, and you got the post office. And this time of year, also the weather is an issue in that you can't, you know, stuff needs to get there really in 24 hours or less. It can't sit out on the tarmac. It can't be out in the cold. You know, you need your fish, and they need to stay warm, even with the heat pack or whatever. When it's -20, that doesn't help. So a lot of places also don't ship as much, but really what it comes down to is that it is expensive to ship anything in the air freight, and it's not necessarily correlated to gas prices or to anything. It's greedy big companies charging whatever they want at the end of the day. And, you know, they'll complain about their margins or this or that or the other, but that's just the case. I mean, for years, the post office used to have like half the price of FedEx and stuff. And now it's gotten closer and closer because they keep taking all the money from the post office. It used to be a profitable, one of the only things the government does that was profitable. And now, you know, it's not, well, I don't know. I don't want to say that actually anymore. Is that a jet? What is that? I was talking to my wife. There's a crazy noise outside.
I guess so.
Sounds like a
At the same time your computer
F-15 or something flying over our house. A very loud jet engine of some sort. Lisa the Wolf, welcome. Welcome, my friend, my new member. Happy belated birthday. You're thanking me and becoming a member? I mean, you are so kind. You are so kind. Thank you. I appreciate the support so much. All y'all members, y'all know that. But thank you. I really do appreciate that. And do I have any tips for keeping bulbitis, no CO2, and you have hard water? Well, good thing is that bulbitis can dig hard water as long as the pH is not too alkaline. So the closer to neutral with the pH is better, but it does like minerality. And bulbitis likes flow, and it's a real slow grower. So there's some things that are bummers about that, but there's also some really good things about that in that nothing happens too quickly with bulbitis. If you see it browning or coming up out of the water and becoming a landform, sometimes when it gets immersed, it looks pretty tattered. You can cut that if you want, if it looks bad. And then the energy will be redirected back down to the aquatic level. But if you can get some of the plant to come out of the top and wait it out and let it transform, those branches will be the same almost as if you had CO2 injection. And so the lower part of the plant in the water will benefit as if it was accessing atmospheric CO2 and the hydroponic or water nutrients that you put in. So it kind of gets the best of both worlds. But generally speaking, you won't have any problems with it. Like you can have pretty low nitrates and pretty low nutrient load wise, and it'll still survive. It's from pretty, like a lot of times there's limestone, but pretty like rain, like flash flooding, tropical rainwater coming out of limestone areas, which we call karst, K-A-R-S-T, environments. And so karst and volcanic stone are either the volcanic is usually inactive and the karst is usually slightly alkaline, a little bit of KH, a little bit of carbonate, a little bit of calcium in there, maybe a little manganese, a little bit of iron, that kind of stuff. So you probably won't need to dose for it, but it also won't be bad for it to give it high light or good light. It tends to like kind of indirect light though, more than the light right on top of it is what I've learned. So like if you have your light right above it, you can set it kind of like if the light's here, my hand's a light bar, you could plant it like here in the front or here in the back of the tank or whatever if we're looking at the side, and usually it'll reach for it, but it kind of likes to stretch towards the light and it likes to have flow. All right. Yeah, and if you can, buy bulbitis that is already grown underwater. The stuff that you get at pet stores and stuff that is already above water growth, immersed growth, you have to then transform it. It's going to look all ragged, black or brown and falling apart, and it's going to look like week old celery sitting on the counter. And that browning is when it's trying to shift its metabolism. It's having its midlife crisis. It's trying to have, it's trying to go to its aquatic form of survival. Now, just bear with it. As long as that main root, or what we call rhizome, is okay, the main stalk, it will be okay. If it gets mushy though, if you feel it with your hand and you pinch it and it is like squishy, like boiled asparagus, like any squishier than that, it's dying. And I don't know what happened, but you know, sometimes plants die. Could have been shocked from being, you know, in 60-degree weather, sitting on a store shelf in AC or something at a store, and transporting and not the right nutrients in a tube thing. So I'm always a little careful when I buy it from like a Petco or PetSmart type place, because I've had it just flat out die when I give it the conditions it likes. But growing out of the water, a lot of times you can float it when it's not healthy, when it's browning like that. Or if you have, even better, if you have a stick or a stone that's like right under the surface, and you can like kind of let part of it crest or whatever, and that will look ratty for maybe up to 3 or 4 months sometimes. But like I said, if you want, you can cut it and then it'll put up new growth, which will either look like kind of bean sprout type tissue, and that'll grow out into the air and then hopefully grow a little more firm and steady. Whereas otherwise it'll keep growing underwater and in its submerged form, if that's where it's already used to. But that transition between one and the other it's hard on that stuff. I'm not gonna let my wife go. I got her by the finger. I got Tiger by the finger. Where's our little Tiger? Is she under the chair over there again? She was laying in the sun a minute ago. But anyways, thank you so much. And also we got the last, my everything. Johnny Best, man, I hope you are doing well. I do. But we got a super chat from Johnny. Thank you, man. You know, it helps. It does. So thank you. I duly, truly appreciate it. And I hope you're doing well, buddy. But thank you so much. A little goes a long way. Not at all do I feel entitled to it, but I do appreciate it. Let's see here. Laura's doing well. She wasn't feeling well a while back, but she's doing better now, which is good. She's had asthma though. We don't know. It might be some of the mold from when our roof was leaking. That was, you know, not great. Fish capades, what's going on? Oh, we got one more question. Then I'm going to show you guys some aquatic arts deals, because they got a couple deals right now, some BOGOs and stuff that are crazy. And then I got 15% discount on top of that. Also, if you wanted the hottest catfish ever, I mean, I have never, ever seen a fish so popular. I don't, maybe CPDs, maybe 10 or 15 years ago when CPDs first hit the scene, Celestial Pearl Danios. And they were called Galaxy Rasboras back then. Maybe, but the Rio Tomo, the Concolor Corydoras, the CW217s, those are at Moonlight Aquatics right now. Wild caught, beautiful from Colombia fish. He had a bad shipment, like with the weather and everything. He had a shipment that sat, and just poor fish, all his big plecos and stuff didn't make it. Anything that was a hot water fish. But everything in the other boxes, like smaller creatures. You know, he lost, I think, some green phantoms and blue phantoms, some but yeah, Moonlight Aquatics. Use the code Fishtory10. You'll get 10% off his insane prices already. He's selling super white plecos that he had already in stock. He's selling those right now, I think, for $129, and then you get another 10% off on top of that. Those are like $400 fish when they're adults. A pair of those is easily $1,000. The super white, I forget their number, but anyways, he's got the cories that are orange and gray, like half and half, right down the middle. Down the middle in a weird way, in the length sense. So their tail and back is brilliant orange and kind of this like sandy tan color, and then their front is a bluish gray, kind of gunmetal gray, silvery gray, with a hint of blue or kind of, yeah. And they're beautiful. They're such a cool new fish. I hope there's some still in the river. That's all I'm gonna say, because everybody loves those things. But he's got them right now. They are going for $60 a pop, but they're wild adults, young adults. But yeah, that's what he's got them for. You get 10% off with Fishtory 10 at Aquatic Arts. Fishtory 15 will get you 15% off every order, and that's the green price that's on sale. You can use Fishtory 15 and get that. The BOGO deals, all that stuff, buy one get one. They have on there. I saw they have right now lemon tetras and silver tip tetras. They had where you could get 3. And then that was $9.99 for 3 of them. And then you got buy one, get one. So you get 6 of them for $9.99. Plus then my discount of 15%. So we're talking like $8, you know, like $1.25 or $1.50 a fish. And then it's like, okay, well, the $60 shipping or whatever suddenly doesn't seem so awful. If you're buying a couple $100, like, you know, if you get deals like that, like, man. So I want to show you a couple of those deals before we go. And also just look for myself while I'm hanging out with you. David's Aquatics, hello. Also, Toxic Safe Space, I like the name. Super sticker, second super chat of the day. Super chat, where it's at. You make me want to sing and rap. Thank you so much for supporting the channel, keeping the lights on, keeping the bandages on my leg, and keeping it going. You know, I couldn't help but keep things going here, but I'm trying to pump out more content at the speed that y'all are accustomed to again. And this week I'm on course, but we'll see what happens. Does my code work in person? Yes, it should. I don't know if you're talking, which place you're talking about. You can't really just go to Aquatic Arts, but if they're having an open house or they're having the club meet there, yeah, tell them, you know, Alex and Fishtory 15, and boom, that should work. Also at Moonlight Aquatics, just north of Seattle, tell Cheng when you're checking out, like, I actually heard about this through Alex. If you say it that way, hopefully, I've never heard him not do it. He's always been cool with doing, yeah, totally. You know, Fishtory 10. He might not even need to know like that it's technically Fishtory 10, but he's given it to people in person, as long as you just say, like, I heard about it through Alex, because it helps us both out. I get a little kickback from it in free fish and so forth, and he gets his little thing. You know, he gets to sell his fish. He already has such close margins, though, that I kind of feel bad sometimes. So I do honestly and sincerely want to just support the guy. He's such a hard worker, and he brings in really cool fish that other shops are not willing to take a chance on. Moonlight Aquatics is, I mean, he has connections due to his family being mainland Chinese as well. You know, he has some connections that no one else in the area seems to have. And it is really, really cool to see what he brings in sometimes. I really want to support that and keep it going. And I know, like I said, it's been rough. I know business has been hard. Plus the order he lost, that was rough on him. You know, it was like, I'm not in his, I don't want to be in his business, but I have to guess that was like somewhere between 5 and 10 grand lost with the size of order he was ordering. You know, when he does a giant shipment from one country and he's doing it as his business, all on him, all up front. That's scary. You know, if it works out well, then he gets all the profit. There's no middleman, and the fish don't have to sit in between trans shipping and stuff. But if it doesn't work out and the fish die, then it's usually like some agreement. Sometimes it's 50-50 with the sender and the buyer. Sometimes it's all on the buyer. So it's pretty wild. But he has got some really nice fish right now. And he always does and will. And Aquatic Arts also does. Also, if you didn't hear the news, Imperial, here, I'll put it in the chat for you guys. Imperial Tropicals, which is a great spot for any monster fish, any rainbow fish. Moonlight also has dozens of cories and hillstream loaches and monster fish. And also the best prices on shrimp that I've seen is Moonlight. And I didn't even have them as my like shrimp guys. Like Aquatic Arts used to be that. But now Moonlight has like super cheap, like $3.99 for the same thing you pay $8 to $10 for other places. It's wild. But Imperial Tropicals, the code is just Fishtory. I think it's all caps. Fishtory. And right now, I believe it's only like sales tax off, like 5% or something. But it does make the channel look good. And I'm hoping we can get to 10% soon. So if you happen to be shopping there, I'd appreciate it if you shouted out that you know about them and me, that we're all in cahoots, that it's a conspiracy. So here, yeah, we have another, look at that shout out right there. I was happy when I ordered from Moonlight. Those Milky Way wood cats are still healthy and beautiful. Some of my favorites. I love wood cats. The orca, miniature orcas, or the Milky Way ones. Either of those or the honeycomb ones are so beautiful, so cool looking, and they're so affordable there. Even like the wet spot, they're usually $30 a pop. And the wet spot, don't get me wrong, they have really cool fish, really rare fish, and a good selection, but their prices are hit and miss. Moonlight is crazy. Asuriana, we got man, I just quit. I can't talk today. I need to get my top teeth finished. I did the implant stuff, got everything fixed. It's ready for the posts. And I got the bottom ones done, 10 implants and all. Now I need to go get the top. And not having teeth up top for like 2 years now, when it was supposed to be like 6 months. Not good. I'm getting very mealy mouth, very meh. But hello, I see that you're here and welcome. Oh no, your sand boa escaped its enclosure. It's been 48 hours of panic. Release the mice. I don't know. I'm so sorry. That sucks. It's probably curled up like in a boot or something, you know, warm. I don't know how big it is, but yeah, that sucks. I've been there though with aminals. I've definitely used to keep a lot of reptiles, and they would go missing from time to time, especially when like the cat would knock the tank off the entire dresser or something, you know, when I had like a little 2.5 gallon for a knoll or something that I had caught or whatever. Yeah, one time there was a great massacre of all my little frilled knolls or whatever. That was traumatizing to my 10-year-old brain. All right. He missed my escape crab. Fishcapades Productions. Yeah, good call. Oh, you left out a thawed mouse and nothing. He's very chill. No idea how he got out. I removed all of his substrate, nothing. So he's definitely out. Oh, I'm so sorry. That sucks. They're sneaky. They're sneaky. All right. So here is, we get the best discounts always on Aquatic Arts because we use all caps Fishtory 15. We get 15% off. But I wanted to show you some of the stuff they have. And I've been trying to work, for years. I've worked with them for 9+ years now, since this channel was a glint in my eye. But look at this. So they had, for instance, something that was, even if it's just marked down a couple bucks, you see the new price, $17.99 here. Those already sold out. But like the Goldface electric blue rams, these are selling really fast, I heard too. But they were $29.99. Now they're $25.49. So that plus you get another 15% off without having to do anything. It's like you're getting both discounts or an extra discount, and only y'all, for being loyal viewers, only newsletter members and stuff like that. So I fought for that deal because I utilize it as well. The only thing that sucks is everywhere you go, shipping is expensive. So, when you place an order, plan it out for like, I'm going to stock a tank and I'm going to stock, freshen up this other tank and get some plants for my other tank. Like if you have multiple tanks, definitely think about that, or ask a friend or another person in a fish club or whatever, and you can make it get way cheaper. But like the Ludwigia repens, which we were just talking about being a great plant, you can see how big the and bushy the leaves are here. This can be a very nice dark red color. See, right now this is all above water growth when it looks like this. But underwater, it doesn't look that different, but it gets a lot more red. Do they have any pictures of it? But let's see that. I guess that is probably underwater growth right there, that picture. The rest is all typical above water. But in highlight, that will also be red with a red stem. Only $5.99, and then you'd get another, basically $1 off. They've also got these little Brazos dwarf mini lobsters, Cambarellus. These are native to Texas and Mexico, and they're super cute. They're like little miniature, and they've got, I think they still have, grade B. They had A grade, and I think they'll probably have more soon, but they specialize in that. The other thing they have going on lately that I love is they have been embracing the live culture. Also, they're doing green water, only $7.99, but this is like what you'd want to start your Daphnia, or to start if you want to breed like nano fish, and you just leave your light on like 18 hours a day, keep the nitrates at like 50 parts per million, like basically just kind of have a semi-dirty, not offensively dirty for your fish tank, and you can use this start to basically get your green water going, and lots of tiny fish. They also sell it in a 16-ounce bag. $11.99 for the 16-ounce bag. Anyways, that is like pure energy, for your baby fish. And likewise, if you have Daphnia or any little live critters, I mean, even brine shrimp, but they won't survive in the green water, or the green water won't survive in salt, but they love eating that single cell green water. It is like magic. And again, you can make green water at home, but a lot of people have trouble getting it going. And so that's cool. We were talking about onion plants earlier. Well, damn, there's a deal. Look at that, $269, and with the 15% off, boom, you'd have a $2 onion plant. And yeah, they look like chives. Like I said, you get a few stalks coming up. I don't think they're that great of an, oops, sorry guys, sorry about the voice being so loud, but I don't think they're that great of an aquarium plant. I think they're pretty boring. But they also have all these like build your own algae crew, build your own cleanup crew, where you get to pick, Pandagaras or Autosynclus with various different neorites versus an Amano shrimp, and they have different colors of Amano shrimp. And like with this, I think you get like, I don't know, 3 fish, 6 Amanos, and 6 snails or something like that. And it's a good deal. It's normally $70, now it's 48, and you get 15% off of that too. They have the trapdoor snails back. The other thing that they had that I was looking at, so like these Amanos are absolutely cuckoo bananas. Beautiful. The yellow ones I love. I have a group of them. They look like Neocaridina for real. So do the snow Amanos. Aquatic Arts has the best, but hands down. They're getting them from a U.S. breeder, and he is breeding them, and they're incredible. They just look incredible. Also, they're sold out of everything but the rabbits now. I want to see a Siluaceae tank, and I'm thinking of putting one together with Aquatic Arts, but you can get the rabbit snails. They're so funky looking. Moonlight Aquatics has them as well, but aren't they so alien looking? I mean, look at that weird thing. Supposedly that's a rabbit, right? Looks just like a rabbit. Not. Okay, let's take a look real quick. Also, they have BOGOs on their fish and on their plants and on their inverts. So if you go to their webpage, you can check that out. And all their BOGO deals are like, you just select it. So you can still apply our 15% off, which is crazy. But yeah, Red Widow Frontosas. Let's see here. They have a lot of guppies in-house now that are pretty darn amazing. And also the other thing, like I said, that I just appreciate, hey, bitterlings, that's cool. These are new, so they're basically 10 or $11 a piece. But these, when they spawn, are incredibly pretty. Google what they look like, and you'll see like, wow, that is a bright pink with like green stripes and purple and yellow. I mean, they're really, bitterlings get very colorful, and you can keep them in warm or cold water usually. But they use the clams to reproduce, like that short I just did. Also, they're selling lots of care species still, which, like, when they got new owners, I was really, really sad or stressed and worried about that. And I'm happy to report that they're still promoting that. And also, yeah, there's some things that are expensive, like $100 for what was it, 3 rice fish, these really high-end ones, but they're getting them from local Indianapolis, Indiana, Ohio, Michigan, Illinois fish breeders. But like, look at this BOGO deal right here too. I just can't get over this. This used to be $20 for these 3 lemon tetras. These are the red-eyed lemon tetras, and they're $9.99 for the 3, right? Then you select 3 plus 3. That's 6 fish for $9.99. That's bonkers right now. So yeah, there's some really crazy good deals on fishy fish. Also, usually they've got a really big selection of crabs that they have both in-house breeding, and they import new ones all the time. Right now it's pretty limited, and I think it's a seasonal thing, but they will be breeding in-house, and they do have the pom-pom and the Thai micro crabs, but they're both expensive. I think Moonlight has these micro crabs for $20. So if you're like, I need micro crabs, then maybe not here. But I also wanted to shout out, of course, they have some of these just absolutely gorgeous crayfish. I personally don't like having pet crayfish because they're just meaner than hell and they attack everything. But if you have, a tank of its own and some, you could put like zebra danios or something like that with them that would probably never get caught. Never say never, but wouldn't get caught most of the time. And it would probably be a fun one. Johnny Best also became a member. Want to big up to Johnny Best. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate it. Yeah, I want to buy fish, but it's too cold. Yeah, it's true. They're not going to ship to you either. If you buy fish and they look at the weather where you're at and they're like, "Hey, you're in Minnesota. No, we're not sending you anything." Also, the other thing is they're going to send, you know, uh, anything if it doesn't have live fish and stuff. Like if you're just getting food or something, for instance, um, or botanicals or any of their supplies, that it would all be even plants, I believe, would all be they're not gonna make you pay the crazy 60 or $70 shipping. Now, what did I see on here that I wanted to point out? One more thing. Yeah, these $6.99 high fin sunset platies. Those are pretty cool. A lot of people come to their website and they're like, "Oh my gosh, $16.99 for erythromicrons, emerald dwarf rasboras." Yeah, but it's for 3. So pump your brakes. It's like $5.50, and then you get my discount. It's like $5 or less. Also, their Jack Dempsey's, they've been looking really good. Their green fire tetras, those are pretty cool. Their vampire plecos, pretty cool with the purple eye, leopard spots. Also, Liberty Mollies, I've got them still. I'm probably going to get rid of mine eventually, but also Panda Epistogramme Nisini, pretty cool. All the little blue eyes and stuff are also right now $14.44. That's for 3 of them. Pacific Signifers, really pretty. They're just nice fish. Ooh, I love those. They're so nice. And boy, these have gone up in price all around the market. You know, they're like $12 a pop basically is what you're paying. And that's what I pay locally too. Is they're anywhere from 10 to 15 lately. They used to be like 6 to 8. And I would breed those. If you're trying to breed for profit, I think pseudomcgills are one of the where it's at fish, whether it's the Gilbert eye or the Ivan Stolfi or whatever. Hey, they even have some geos, some Tapajos, some Rio Tapajos. That's cool. And they have the striped kythid, which I only have the dotted kythid. But if you were curious what the other kythid, these are the northern kythid that they thought were actually zebra danio, and it turns out nope, not zebra danio, they're kythid danio genetically. But they've got those in stock, and it's only $13.99 for 3. Yet again, Sultan plecos, another amazing fish. These are another great one. Maculaci or Macola, Melitania Macola's dwarf rainbow fish, kind of like a Radnocentris. They're pretty cool. And again, these I love. So only $15.99 marked down right now. So that's for a school of 3 of these. These were on BOGO not too long ago. And I mean, these are beautiful. When they spawn, they turn that nice orange color. And these and the Arcuata Pethias, absolutely peaceful and underrated by far. Also, look at this. They have Disticotis. Now, these are expensive as hell, and I can't even pretend to say anything about that, but they are such a cool fish when you see them in the wild, and they're just like these or the Laprinus. Like any of those are just swimming around and bright colored, and there's like a dozen of them together just kind of chilling. So cool. They get big, though. They get, I think, like, I don't know, almost a foot long or something, probably. They also have the thick lip gourami from Lake Inlay. These red ones, really beautiful. Only $6.99. I love that fish. They're also starting to carry and breed in-house shabunkin and various goldfish. They've got, you know, this one, butterfly tail more. I thought they had another one too. Anyways, I just had to share with you guys. It had been a little bit since I showed you some of these things, but yeah, assorted orondas, They have like big healthy ones that they're getting from Japanese stock, if you trace it back. Again, though, more care species, only $5.99. Sorry, guys, I'm yelling, but only $5.99 for the torpedoes. For these Tanganyikan fish, this is or Malawi fish. Sorry, that's absolutely bananas. That's insane. Look at how beautiful these fish are, and these are one that's like almost endangered or almost extinct in the wild, and yet they're down from 25 to 5.99. That's how you get a killer deal. Plus our discount code, that stuff like that, stocking up on that. You could even flip that and make money locally if you can get, you know, someone with an interest in something like that. So just really good deals going on through Aquatic Arts right now. And one, I want to keep them in business, but also the other thing I want to mention is that redfish bluefish shop, Jason, my old buddy, old pal. Oh, maybe it's not up and running right now. He is going out of business, and I mentioned that he was shutting down. He kind of came and went, and you know, his family, they just decided they have to move. That things are just too expensive, and they have to move. And you know, he is yet again, unfortunately, he's going to be shutting it down. And he basically is someone who also brought in some of these beautiful European fish. Look at these Aquatic Arts, these ones, these Legend Paraiba angelfish. That is cool. They've got like the pink dot on them with the blushing cheeks. They almost look sick. I'd be worried that I wouldn't know how they were doing. But to somebody, that's going to be like the fish they want, the something, the special. And then lastly, let's also not forget that Imperial Tropicals, guys, they have all sorts of deals going on that are not through me. But I mean, look at these fish. Already marked down another $9.99. It's such a beautiful freaking, like this Salvini Tabasco, insane, absolutely awesome, beautiful fish, female versus male. I mean, geez Louise. Also, the dragon blood peacocks. They have a lot of these fish, including really interesting, like crazy sword tails, kohakus, interesting sanke, and just different body styles and colors and patterns. Really cool stuff. And you know, they carry a lot of unusual stuff, but it gets marked down $4.99. You know, crazy prices for fish that are like 30 or 40 bucks a lot of times. Other places like these are insane. This is not like an on sale price, but the ornate tenopoma, the micro tenopoma and sorghii, these are really cool fish. If you look them up, they're kind of like a little bit bigger version of a Batis labyrinth fish, but they're African, and they're related to like the little bush fish. They can live in low oxygen water. They can live in like a 10-gallon tank probably. They're little hunters. They're little predators, but they're really cool. Also, look at this. Was 30 bucks. The Geo Gymno Terra Purpura. I don't even know that one, but I've seen these full grown and without the trailers. Like sometimes you want one of the Geos that just stands on its own with that mask, you know, and then you can get the giant the other ones, like they're beautiful with the long thread fins and stuff. Also, Festivums, only $9.99. Use the code Fishtory, just the word Fishtory, and you'll be helping me out. You'll get a little bonus discount on top of these already low prices. Again, shipping is a, it's a kick in the face, but It's going to be that way everywhere these days. But you are avoiding, with all of these places that I support, you're avoiding the countless problems that come when you order a fish that you don't know if it's been quarantined. You don't know, you get it at Petco or PetSmart, you think you got a deal because it was a $3 tetra, or normally they're $5 and you got it for 99 cents on sale. Well, you bring it home and it kills. Those fish die in a week. Everything has ick. Now you got Colmenares and ick and some other parasite, and all of a sudden your entire tank, including the plants, are like contaminated. It's just like, oh man, you don't even realize how bad it can get. Also, Moonlight Aquatics, our buddy Chang, my friend, he's still got the blueberry snails, still got those going on, which they're very cool. But he has the orange ones too. Remember, people were paying $40 a pop for those when they came out a year ago. Now it's settled down, obviously. But he's also got these like Bloody Mary Hill Stream loaches. These things were going for like $80, $50. Still, they're going for like $50 a lot of places. But he's got them for $29.99 now. You use my discount code Fishtory10, all caps, no spaces. And boom, you get another 10% off. So that's $3 off. You get $26, $27 Bloody Mary Hill Stream Loach. Pretty cool. He has also, like I said, these super white L236s. Oh, he has the different sizes too. And he's sold out right now of the 2.5 to 5. Let me tell you though, these 1.25 to 1.5, most of them are closer to like 1.5 to 2. He's had some of these, if they're on sale at Chang's shop, they're usually like, if they're marked down, that means he's probably had them a while. Like these, he had a long time, and he marked them down to $69.99 when they were $89.99, and that was already way lower than like the Wet Spot and stuff had these for $129, and that was a good deal compared to a lot of places. But look, leopard frogs, love leopard frogs. He's got them for $59, and you would pay $6 less than that. Add it all up. He's also got quite a few of Pistos usually. Does he still have they sold out. His good deals sell out though. That's what I will say. That's, and it's one dude running Moonlight Aquatics, running their online business and everything. So it gets pretty crazy. But let's get back. I want to finish up with y'all in the chat, and also just hi guys, how are we doing? So we're getting close to 2 hours here, and we're probably gonna wrap it on up. But I just wanted to see if anybody had any last questions or whatever. But I love that we have now such a network of, we've got rareshrimp.com, the auction site, which is like, if you want $100 fancy shrimp that's going to be like literally world class breeders like Michael Hostler or Monica Polar or Vin or Flying Flying why can't I think of the name? Anyways, the shrimp houses and breeding lines that are known for, like, they invented crystal reds, for instance. Then you can actually be a part of that. You can buy, these incredible fish with that, or I mean, incredible shrimp with that. And that is through Rare Shrimp. And again, Fishtory 10, boom, you get 10% off. Also, Fishtory, just the code Fishtory and all caps, try it out. If there's a place that you like and you're like, I wonder if Alex has a code there, give it a shot, see what happens. But yeah, I do have quite a few places now, and it's good because we need more places that have like that quality and the ethics of keeping fish morally, healthily, and at a fair price for the farmers or breeders or whatever. And I will pay more, like I said, happily, and just have less fish and buy less often to have a fish that looks good and lives years and years and has a full life and is happy, healthy, and also can be bred, good genetics and stuff. Ooh, so important. And that's what anybody that I've teamed up with, like, I guarantee you that they are representing that. Like Dan's, even though we're not really working with them right now, I still will tell you, go check out Dan's Fish. If you can spend that kind of money and you want something they have, I would recommend doing it. So yeah. All right, guys, let's see. I gotta stand. My back is just cramping up. Okay. Have you found any common tips in the aquarium industry that have no research to back up the claims, Ryan? That is a great question. And yeah, tons. Things like nitrates don't hurt fish. Who did a study? I mean, just because the fish don't die at a set level, which they do, it's just really, really, really high. It can stress them out and then cause them to be susceptible to everything else. It's kind of like saying, oh, well, AIDS doesn't kill people. It's the secondary infection that they get. And that's what kills people, pneumonia. That's a stupid thing to say. But yeah, we have research to prove that there is a threshold for, like, salmon, for instance. 10 parts per million is enough to screw up larval salmon's spine and brain tissue. Granted, many fish can live in high nitrates, and most fish, you can have nitrates slowly getting higher and higher, all the way up to 500-600 parts per million, and they won't die, but they may get ick, then this, then that, then secondary infections. Their slime coat's hurting. They're just looking sick. They're bloated. They're overeating or undereating. So those who say, well, nitrates are not a problem, nitrates, there's lots of people saying things like that. Another one is you can't plant rhizome plants in the dirt. They'll rot. And as long as you have good flow in your tank and you don't have like a really rich biome of dirty, dingy stuff, like if you have tanks like mine with like really thick layers of fluffy mulm, it's just asking to break down a rhizome, which is full of starch and or sugars and like nutrients for bacteria and fungi. But if you put that in a fairly clean substrate with nutrients and things, you can bury Anubias, you can bury Java fern, all that stuff you can bury at least halfway deep into the roots, if not, if not maybe even more. And that's one that I hear all the time is don't bury your Anubias or don't bury your Java fern, it'll rot. So there's a ton of things that people just say over and over in the hobby that I'm like, why do they say this? It may be that somebody noticed a correlation, and that's not a causation. Correlation is not causation, as they say. Fun question, Ryan. If you could keep any fish or only keep plants, which would you choose? Wait, if you could only keep fish or only keep plants? Fish. It would be the fish still. I like the dynamic behavior. I do love plants though. I mean, obviously all my tanks are freaking jungles. Like right now, I don't have the lights on over there. But boom, I mean, look at that jungle of a tank. Plus all the trimmings on top from every week. I got to do that at least once, if not twice a week. And I'm cutting out like 1 pound to 3 pounds of vegetation. So what's crazy about that though is the nitrates, the carbon. There's no CO2 in it. I'm only feeding a little sprinkle of fish food to tetras and some, some few catfish, a few tetras, Bob the betta. There's no angelfish. There's no big algae eaters or anything in there. No Oscars or anything. And those little fish, about 50 little guppy sized fish, and the food I feed them and the substrate that's been in there, that's all enough nutrients and like food in that closed loop. I'm not putting any sort of fertilizers in there at all either. I used to add potassium once in a while and nitrogen once in a while, but only when I was running CO2. Ever since I stopped running the CO2 in that tank, there's no need to, but I still have to trim. And just think of the conversion of like a pound. I mean, a lot of it's water weight, obviously, but think of the mass of the biomass coming out of there. It's really wild. Plants help the fish health for sure. So guys, I just wanted to again thank you all for coming and hanging out and chatting. I'm gonna wind it up, or wind it down, we'll go that way. And I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you guys are going to enjoy what I've started now, which is the aquascaping project that I was so nervous about starting. Like, I feel like I put a lot of pressure on myself that not there from you guys, but it's there for me in the, ADA, like, oh, I'm doing something for ADA. And I decided the other day, like when I made this, the last video I made about how I've kind of reassessed how I view the entire hobby and the challenge of, do you keep a fish room? Do you keep a few tanks? Do you keep one tank? Do you spend money on one aquascape? Is it a goal-oriented thing where you're building for a moment to take a picture? For me, I haven't done that in years. But even when I did that in the past, even when I did an Uwagumi scape or a Brazilian scape or worked in the stores, I would build it, and then afterwards it would become a jungle tank, and I'd just get collectoritis, and I'd start putting more and more plants in there until there was no room, and it would just become its own thing, and the hardscape would become hidden, basically. I never really would tear down. I would just keep going for several years until it was a tangle that was so crazy, that fish are spawning on their own tetras and stuff, and it such dense plants that they survive. And that's a good hint that you've gone overboard. I mean, some people want that, and I'm one of them, but you've gone overboard by that point. But yeah, I just decided I'm going to try to, I'm so effing sick of AI and all the channels that are using even just AI overdubbing the voice. And it's just that calm British guy, or they have like the crackle of like a fireplace just really, really quietly, like so quietly you can barely hear it, but it's like this. Like the scratches on a record, and it's this guy talking, and he's like, so we put the fish in the beautiful tank, and we look at the glimmering waters, glimmering, sparkling waters. But whatever. And also just super stable shots, the like panning and like the still image, and they like zoom in and then like scroll off to the left or right or diagonally or whatever, or vignette it in like the Bugs Bunny black hole. I'm so sick of all the automation by computers, and I decided, like, you know what? We're going to stand apart here at Fishtory. I'm going to still try to get you guys, content, video, pictures that's the best it can be of the fish or of behaviors or plants or things we're talking about. And I still want the audio quality and stuff to be not like annoying, but we're going to keep it real. I'm just one of you guys. You are like me, and I am like you. And, I think for a while, I started forgetting that you guys understand that I'm documenting my journey. I'm not some professor or anything. You know, I'm just trying to do this, and I fell into the luck somehow of being able to do this more than my other day job for a long time. And now we're kind of right at the edge of that again. And I may have to go back to doing more day jobby type stuff, just because of the way things go, and, you know, viewer rates and money and stuff. But if I do that, I definitely will then have to kind of resort back to the more just like vlog and updating. And when I learn something cool, just turning on the camera and being real with you guys and talking to you. And so I decided, like, I can't fight that. And I'll always, you know, try to bring you interesting and new stuff. I'll always, just because I can't help myself, be keeping up with the news and the details and new technology, new products, all that. But I'm not gonna like go crazy over the production or over the entertainment value and all that, in some way that's disingenuous to the fact that, first and foremost, I'm a fish keeper and a nerd that loves nature, and that you guys are just my friends that are along for the journey. And there's nothing unique or special about me or my channel. You know, we don't have thousands of dollars even to support production of things like that. So we will continue to reinvest and, you know, utilize things like buying fish at with the cost from when you got with the credits that you guys help me earn when you guys use affiliate links and things. But really, more than that, is just I want to be a part of the community just like you are. I want to learn from you guys. We've got lots of great experts and professionals and academics in the community, as well as students, as well as people who are brand new. It doesn't matter. All of us can still learn from each other. And I love that. And I just want to keep that energy going that we've had here that's so special. And the fact that we have so many compassionate, kind people in this core. We have 100,000 of us on this channel now. For some reason, YouTube, unless I pay money for the advertising, you know, give them a couple $100, we have been hovering at 95,000 for months, subscriber wise. And it has, I'll gain 50 or 100 subscribers in a day, and I'll lose that many again the next day. It is bizarre. I don't know what's going on. But at some point, you got to just stop worrying about all those games or those numbers. And you realize that we have a core community of y'all. And we have live streams that I wanted to switch up the time that I do them at. And, you know, so I'm going to try to do a morning or midday live stream like this once a week, and then try to do an afternoon or evening one the other time, so that we can spread it out more, and the world community can hopefully be a part of that core, or the group that's in the Facebook group, that's on the Discord, that's in the comments on the YouTube videos and having conversations. And, you know, you see me elsewhere and out and about, and we're just doing our thing. And so I think that's more important than ever, especially like trying to get to the bottom of, is that a real video of a fish? Is that fish really that big? Did they find a new species, or is it AI? You know, I hate all that stuff. So yeah. But in any case, I got to get going, you guys. And I just appreciate you so much. And thank you. Thank you. And just keep doing you, and I'll keep doing me. I don't know where Sumi is. I thought she'd come say hi to us, but the cat is being a princess, and it's sunny, so she's probably laying in the sun. But I will see you guys later, and have a great day, you guys. Take care. Bye. Here comes the sun. Ba-da-ba-da. Here comes the sun.